What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to be taking a look at another new release film. This one is entitled Good Mourning, starring Machine Gun Kelly, Maud Sun, Becky G, Dove Cameron, Gata, Zach Villa, Boo Johnson, Jenna Boyd, Megan Fox, Pete Davidson, and Whitney Cummings. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said during the introduction, today's new release film is entitled Good Mourning. And our movie opens with our main character, London Clash, receiving a text message from his girlfriend, Apple, that says, I wish I didn't have to do this through text, followed by good morning with a U instead of the traditional spelling. Now, London is an actor on a popular television show called Good Bad People. And as the morning progresses with London's regular routine, he constantly questions the meaning behind the text. We then begin to meet some of the other people in London's life. First up is his best friend, Dylan, who seems to be just a few fries short of a Happy Meal. We're then introduced to Olive, London's brand new assistant, who London is kind of awkward around. Next up, we meet Leo, who has been one of London's best friends since the third grade, and apparently is the reason why London has to continuously hire new assistants, as Leo doesn't trust anybody. Leo then takes London into his Zen den as a way to try to get London to calm down. And when Leo accidentally sets fire to the drapes of his Zen den, Kennedy enters the film, one of the many roommates who has moved in to their home after relocating from San Francisco. And apparently, she hates boys. Apple finally calls London, and we learn that they met at a movie premiere and have been dating for about a year. As London attempts to get some answers from Apple about the meaning of the texts, one of his friends, Trippy, pelts him with a water balloon, which ends up rendering his phone inoperable. London then goes to Kennedy in an attempt to try to get Apple's phone number, and it's at this point that he learns that Kennedy is moving out. However, we discover she's only moving to the house across the street. We then meet another one of London's friends, Angel, who started his own clothing line. Olive comes in and tells London that he has a meeting with his agent, Maxine Goldberg, in 20 minutes. So he, Angel, and Leo take off to go see her. Upon meeting the agent, Maxine tells London that he has an audition on that day for the brand new Batman movie. But London attempts to try to postpone it due to his mental mindset after the text message from Apple. London then goes to Apple's house to try to get some answers, only to discover that Apple isn't even home. It is at this point that Angel and Leo attempt to convince London to break into Apple's house. And after some initial hesitation, he finally agrees and does. After accidentally breaking the urns in Apple's house, Angel concocts an idea to smoke a bunch of weed in order to replace the ashes. Kennedy comes back over, and then London, Angel, Leo, and one of their other friends named Fat Joe get caught staring at Kennedy's ass. She reminds them that she's lesbian and she doesn't do boys, and then proceeds to smoke up with them. The guys begin to start tripping out, with Fat Joe even imagining that a lobster is talking to him. Olive goes and replaces London's phone, and once he comes to after coming down from his high, London sends Dylan, Leo, and Fat Joe to replace the urns at Apple's house, while he, Angel, and Olive head to the Batman meeting. Leo then calls London and tells him to get to Apple's house ASAP, as he sees her leaving with another man. So London bails on the meeting, pissing off Maxine in the process, as he, Olive, and Angel head to Calabasas, where Apple resides. When they arrive, Apple is already gone, and London decides to try and catch her at the airport. When London gets to the airport, he's confronted by Dennis Rodman, who knocks him out. Meanwhile, Leo, in disguise, takes the meeting with the Batman director in an attempt to try and save the gig for London. London is found knocked out at the airport by his stalker, who stitches him up and drives him back home. Now, while waiting on Leo to finish the meeting on London's behalf, the LAPD arrive regarding the break-in at Apple's house, and they arrest Leo and Dylan. When he arrives at his house, Apple is there and catches London with his stalker, assuming that he is cheating on her with the stalker. When London begins to finally question Apple about the guy she was seen with, it's revealed that it was only her stylist. Apple then chastises London for getting high all the time and tells him that they need a break. But when London is finally able to ask her about the messages and the true meaning behind them, she says that the good morning with the U text was a typo, and that the I wish I didn't have to do this through text message was because she wishes she could say it in person, because she loves waking up next to him in the mornings. The whole time, he's been freaking out over a misunderstanding. Maxine then fires London as a talent after having Leo take his place. Olive then takes off for the night, leaving London with just Fat Joe and Angel. And London's about to call it a night himself and go to bed after such a shitty day when he realizes that Leo and Dylan are missing. He discovers that they are in jail and enlists Kennedy for some help. They all go and get Leo and Dylan out and then head to YG's house, where Apple is partying in the hopes of trying to win her back. When Fat Joe has a bad trip after doing a line, they take him to see Barry, the hotel valet. And Barry informs them that Kennedy is currently at the hotel and takes the guys up to her room to try to save him. Barry is able to revive Fat Joe, and Kennedy proceeds to kick them out immediately afterwards. As they leave, Dylan runs into Avril Lavigne, who grabs him, kisses him, and tells him that she wrote her song Skater Boy about him. London and his friends then continue their search for Apple, so they decide to go to a restaurant, thinking that she might be there. Olive ends up showing up and telling London that Maxine is currently on the phone. Maxine then proceeds to tell him that he, in fact, got the Batman role. So, on a whim, London calls Apple, and she agrees to meet him at the spot where they had their first kiss. London races to the spot and is texting Apple as he drives. And when he arrives, he crashes head first into Apple's car. Now, as our movie ends, London and Apple wake up in the hospital in the same room, beds right next to each other. They are both in full body casts, and Apple turns to London and tells him good morning. Okay, this movie was a complete stoner movie. However, I feel like by classifying it as a straight up stoner movie is a bit of a disservice to other stoner movies because I am not a stoner, okay? I've never done marijuana, but I find a lot of stoner comedies hilarious. Films like How High, Friday, some of the Cheech and Chong movies, etc. So to put this in that class, I feel is a disservice to those movies because I feel like this, while it had its moments, didn't hit the mark near as well as those other movies did. This movie did, though, have a whole lot of heart. The general premise I felt was very sweet. You know, the whole fact that these text messages are misconstrued and misinterpreted the entire movie, and that the logical meaning behind them is exactly what they ended up being. And because he's such a stoner and he's always got an altered mindset, he couldn't put that together at jump. Good morning was misspelled, it was a typo. I wish I didn't have to do this through text. I wish I could be waking up next to you every morning and saying good morning to you in person. It was such a sweet sentiment. And the fact that the movie ends with them in the hospital next to each other and she can say it to him in person, I feel was one of the few redeeming qualities about the movie. Now, some people ask, Renegade, what made you decide to pick this movie? It was the cast. Hands down, it was the cast. I'm not a huge fan of Machine Gun Kelly as a musician, so he was questionable, and he was the star. I do enjoy the song Invincible that they used for Roxina 1, but aside from that, I can't think of any MGK songs that I like. So that handles the star. You got Becky G. Becky G played the Pink Ranger in the Power Ranger reboot, and she was Princess Jasmine in the live action Aladdin. I adored her in both of those roles. I was willing to give her a shot. You had Dove Cameron. I have grown to know and appreciate Dove Cameron thanks in a great deal to my daughter because my daughter, being a 13-year-old, has grown up with the Descendants movies. So I know Dove Cameron as Mal, the descendant of the evil Maleficent. She also had her own show on the Disney Channel, Liv and Maddie. She's got a great singing voice. So Dove Cameron's in it. Want to give it a try. Megan Fox. Megan Fox is very polarizing, can be very hit or miss for a lot of people. I enjoyed her in the Transformer movies. I enjoyed her in the Ninja Turtle movies. I was willing to give her a shot. Then you start factoring in some of the supporting cast and cameos. Dennis Rodman, Tom Arnold, Danny Trejo, Snoop Dogg, Pete Davidson. Okay. Like I said, hands down, like I said, hands down, the cast is what sold me on this movie. Did I feel like it delivered as well as it could have? No. But I feel like its heart was in the right place. So when it comes to my rating for this film, I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Right in the middle of the pack there. You know, I feel like it had a great message and a great motivation and an amazing cast of individuals. I just don't feel like it delivered as well as it possibly could have. What do you guys think of Good Morning? Those of you that have seen it. Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Just so you know, as of this filming, this movie is available on YouTube in its entirety. So if you want to see it, look it up before it gets pulled, watch it. If you miss it and it gets pulled before you get a chance to see it, it's only a couple bucks to rent on the streaming platforms. If you're a fan of any of these people, I definitely encourage you to at least rent it, give it a try, and see if you agree with me. At least support your favorite musicians, actors, and actresses by giving the movie a chance. Maybe you'll like it more than I did. Maybe you'll like it less than I did. Maybe you'll agree with me about what I'm saying, and then you can come back here and let me know in the comments so that we can engage in that conversation that I'm always trying to get us to have. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, for another brand new installment of The War Zone, the weekly acquisition report, where we take a look at some of the newest additions to my ever growing movie library. This time we'll be taking a look at some more Blu rays that I found at the Dollar Tree during my recent searches. You're not going to want to miss out on that right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel tomorrow for a brand new installment of The War Zone. Thank you to each and every one of my loyal fans who tuned in today. Thank you to all of those who like, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you're notified of all my new release videos. Make sure you share this video with your family, your friends, other movie lovers, other cinephiles. If they're fans of Machine Gun Kelly or Snoop Dogg or Dove Cameron or Megan Fox, make sure that the right people get to know about this video, get to know that it's out there so that they can see it, and then make up their own minds if they want to rent it or not. But as I said, I highly recommend everyone at least give this a rental, check it out, see what you think. Thank you to all of you guys for tuning in and joining me here today, and I will see you guys next time.